Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today we're going to be discussing LEGO Ninjago Season 14, The Island, and the big twist reveal at the end of the season. Now I wanted to wait a while until I discussed this on the channel because I didn't want to feature it in any thumbnails, and then it could kind of give away the ending or the twist reveal of the season. So I wanted to wait a while until everyone kind of had a chance to see it, and now it's been quite a while after the release of The Island, and I figure now I'm kind of free to talk about it here. But once again, even though the thumbnail will probably give it away, I do want to warn you that these are big spoilers for The Island here. But without further ado, let's get straight into it with my opinions on the big twist reveal. So of course, one of the biggest mysteries of The Island was kind of who was going to be the main villain behind this sort of special, and I think a lot of people thought that it could have potentially been Wojira, and I was kind of on that train as well, of kind of thinking that possibly it could be some sort of force like that, and then leading into the next season, Seabound as well. So I thought that would have made a lot of sense, but then we get a really big twist reveal like this. It's kind of just its whole own entire thing, but they do kind of tease it very slightly in the first episode of the season. So one of the biggest mysteries of The Island was definitely who was going to be the main sort of villain for this season. I think a lot of fans knew that it was probably not going to be any of the keepers who were going to be the villain, not Chief Mammotus or anything like that. I think we could all kind of figured that they were probably going to wind up being allies to the ninja by the end of the season, and that there was going to be someone behind what was going on here. So of course we do wind up finding out at the end of the season that Ronan was the one behind everything, and I kind of just want to discuss how this all goes down, and also if I like what they've done with his character here and kind of his return to the series, or if I think that maybe they could have handled it a bit better or maybe used him in some sort of different aspect, or if it feels out of character at all with who Ronan is and who we've seen him as in the past. And starting off here, I think that honestly this really fits with his sort of character, because of course you never really know if he's working on the ninja side or if he's working on someone else's side, and I felt like they did a good job of setting this up in this season by just minutely teasing it in the first episode when we're with Lloyd and Pixel in the sort of ninja base, and we get to hear them kind of going over that Lloyd is kind of surveying or looking at all of the prisoners that have escaped. And then he mentions that Ronan has actually been helping the police to kind of try to recapture them, and he's captured Fujidove, and we get to see a small little tease at Ronan, and I actually did a separate video on that, kind of talking about the possibility of Ronan returning in a future season and maybe them just teasing something there, and little did I know they were teasing something that would come much sooner, of course, in the final episode of The Island. So I found that to be really cool. I thought they did a good job of sort of setting that up, and I do feel like it fits really well with Ronan's character, honestly. We've seen that he's willing to, of course, work with the ninja, he'll work with just different people, but he'll also work on the enemy side as well. It's kind of just whatever is the best for his needs, and of course he was just kind of manipulating the keepers as well by sort of forcing them to give up all of their gold and resources and everything to this fake Wojira that he has sort of concocted. So I thought that that was really interesting, and honestly I feel like it's a pretty smart plan for Ronan as well, and I think that fits also because of course he always has sort of like cool sort of twists with his character. I would say primarily most of the things come into, of course, his season where he's sort of like mainly introduced in season 5, Possession. So I thought it was kind of cool to see something big like this kind of be revealed, and I felt that it fit with his character as well. Like, he's of course not a stupid character or a jokey character. He has his own sort of plans and things going on, and I felt like they integrated that into it really well, where it didn't seem like it was like, oh, this is kind of weird to see Ronan doing this. No, it really felt within what his character would actually really realistically do. Now, there are a few aspects to this reveal that I didn't absolutely love, and it was mainly just how Ronan, even though it makes sense that he's kind of like forcing the prisoners to help him here, it doesn't really make sense when he tries to escape and he's like, oh yeah guys, just back me up here and fight against the ninja. Like, really, at the end of the day, what's in it for them? I feel like if you're smart enough, you can kind of just see that Ronan's just using you and he just wants to escape with his gold and treasures that he's taken from the keepers. And I feel like just kind of their blind obedience to him just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I understand that he probably promised them that, oh, you're gonna get out of jail if you do me this one favor and I won't like take you back to the police chief or anything like that. So I get that there was probably some sort of incentive behind the scenes, but just once he's actually escaping, I feel like you could just put together the pieces that this guy is probably not going to come back to help us, so maybe we shouldn't waste our time just fighting against the ninja in an obvious fight that we are going to lose, and maybe we should actually try to escape, because that was another of my complaints, is that even though I thought it was a cool twist, it didn't really feel like the most epic finale, and not that I was expecting something like that. I get that this is kind of its own sort of little special that they've kind of put together here, where it's just an enclosed story, where it's just focusing on this island, but I felt like there could have been a bigger battle at the end. I suppose I'm just used to bigger things going on, especially in the past 2 seasons, when we go up against, of course, in season 12, Prime Empire, up against Unagami, and then in season 13, up against the Skull Sorcerer. They faced against some pretty big bad guys, so it feels like a bit of a downgrade just going up against these prisoners here, and it just feels weird considering we're not really familiar with any of these prisoners, so it didn't really feel like as much of a personal fight, and like they're really going up against Ronan, and more so just Ronan's sort of minions that he has here, so I felt like that was a little bit lackluster there for the finale, but I think that the twist still works overall, and it does kind of fit that Ronan would just be using and manipulating other people to do the hard work for him, so that he can just escape. So once again, I think at the end of the day, it all kind of comes back together to who his character is that he's willing to betray, people who you would think he's gotten pretty close to. I mean, I feel like he had a fairly close relationship to the ninja at this point, but of course, I think that if it's something that's in it for him and he's able to get a lot of money out of it, I feel like he's almost willing to betray anyone. So I think that it does fit within his character, and I felt that it was a really cool reveal as well. One of my favorite moments is when it is revealed and Lloyd's like, oh yeah, I thought it was actually gonna be the mechanic, because if you saw my reaction video to this episode, I thought the exact same thing right before Lloyd said that, and I was like, I was on the exact same page. I honestly thought, okay, maybe it's gonna be the mechanic, this seems like something up his alley, but I figured also that he was just featured in season 12, so it would feel like a little bit too soon to bring him back in such a main role like this, so I felt like it was smarter to utilize Ronan here, bring back one of those more classic characters, and I felt like it worked pretty well. So overall, as you can probably tell, I enjoyed this twist for season 14, The Island. I thought that it worked really well with Ronan. I think he's a character who might not be a mainstay in the Ninjago series, or at least a main focus of a season, but if they can utilize him like this, I'd like to see it for other characters as well. Ones like the mechanic and things like that, I think they can really work well in roles like this, and then you can still introduce the new villains or characters, or just even put them in an antagonist spot as well, such as what the keepers were, because of course for the first for episode 2 and episode 3, I would say primarily they are kind of the antagonists, and even for the beginning part of episode 4, so I think they still serve their role really well, and then they were able to of course turn that around by the end with making them allies of the ninjas, so I thought that worked really well. Overall, I thought it was very well done. It was a good conclusion for the season with a cool return of a classic Ninjago character, so overall I would say it was really well done. But now I want to hear all of your thoughts down below. Let me know if you enjoyed Ronan's return here, and if you think it worked with what type of character he is, and if you think it fit well within the actual island special here. So let me know all of that down below, and if you did enjoy the video, it would be highly appreciated if you could leave a like, also subscribe as well. If you would like to check out some of my other content, that would be highly appreciated, so thank you so much. I'll see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.